welcome back to another episode of Happiness Matters, the show with me, Beanie Man, and Mo the service dog, who is laying down here somewhat quietly right now. Today I have a friend here. We've been friends on Facebook for a while.
Yes.
I don't even know how we met.
Through Artemis.
Networking. Imagine that. That was a hot minute ago. So we reconnected, and this is Kim Mullet. And she is just amazing. I mean, I really only know amazing people, I realized. So it's like, I like amazing people. So
Us amazing people have to stick together.
that's right. Because, birds of a feather
Flock together.
So thank you so much for being here and stopping by and hanging out and, sharing your words of wisdom story. We'll find out.
Well, thanks for having me.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. So we were talking before, because I usually talk with my guests beforehand to loosen up a little bit, and it's just really, the show is really just friends having a conversation, really, and give some nuggets and some value to the audience. So we were talking about being your own cheerleader.
Correct.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that, how that came about for you? Because it is important. You need to be your own cheerleader.
Yeah, because sometimes in life we just sometimes are in positions of either not having a good support system around us, or the support system that around is negative.
Right.
And when you have a lot of negativity whispering in your ear, and you're already in a dark place, or I should say a place of feeling stuck, it's hard to get motivated.
Very true.
Especially when you know you have a purpose and a destination, and everything around you is not going your way.
Right. It's like, here, have another block. Here, have another this to not succeed.
Right.
And it feeds into, because we're at a vulnerable place to begin with.
Correct.
When at any time in our lives, and especially if you want to venture out and start your own business or do something different, we're already having all that self-talk that, what if I fail, and what if this doesn't go right? We'll do the what if down, and it's like, so we already have all of that to begin with. And now we have all the well-meaning people around us, which, now you all know that they're all coming from their own place of insecurity.
Right.
And their own ego. But at that moment, I didn't know until not too long ago. I was like, maybe it's me, maybe they're all right. And I was feeding into all of that.
Yeah.
And I took that on as truth, as my own.
That is true. And then you start feeling sometimes a little depressed, a little hopeless.
A lot.
And you feel secluded, and like the walls are closing in on you.
Right.
And when you find yourself in those situations, sometimes you just have to learn to encourage yourself. You have to be your own light and guide your way out. And it's a matter of sometimes life and death. Because depending on your circumstances, the people around you could just be sucking the life out of you.
Literally.
And if you don't know it, if you're not aware of what's going on, you can easily succumb to that and lose all your hope, and you have no joy in your life.
Right. Right. And you learn to, that becomes your, I wouldn't say comfort zone, but in a way, because you learn to maneuver within, to lessen the pain, not to get rid of the pain, but not to add more to it.
Mask or cope.
Cope.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. It's just, you're not really dealing with it, you're just maneuvering within. And that's huge. And I think at some point everybody's been there in some form or another, some more severe than others.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see, because and I go back to that autopilot that we're on. We're just reacting. We're so conditioned to just react. React. What we don't realize is by just reacting and giving our energy and effort to that, we get more of it.
True.
And it makes it even harder to get out.
That is true. That is true. So if you can recognize what's going on, then you can make a decision on whether you want to stay in it or get out. And if you want to get out, that means getting out at all costs. So if that means you have to cut the people around you off or put very, very strict boundaries of
boundaries? What?
I know, imagine that. Boundaries.
Boundaries? Did you hear that?
Because if I know.
Mo is like, oh, I know about boundaries because the cat moved back in and I was told I.
Yes, you have to definitely identify people who drain your energy.
Yes.
And your joy. And you have to stop giving them power over you. Because as long as you keep giving them power,
you empower. You give them more right, and you give them more permission to walk all over you and suck more of life juice out of you.
Correct. And just at some point, you have to find out, or you have to say, I am worth more. I am worth more than what you are giving me. My life is better, happy. And I can't allow you to keep sucking life out of me.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, it is absolutely true. And you know, it's hard sometimes because sometimes it's those closest to us.
Yes.
And it's really hard when it's family members because we're well, in our society it's like, well, family is everything. It's like, no, I love my family, but it doesn't mean, you know, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter if it's friend, family, or whatever.
Right.
If they're sucking the life out of me, if they're nothing but a dark cloud around me,
right,
I'm out.
If I'm feeling some kind of way when you're around.
Right. I mean, if just a thought sometimes, you know,
right,
it's like your vibration drops, not a little bit, but quite a bit. It's like, there's your sign.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I mean, and sometimes you can't avoid it, especially if it's family or co-workers or something, you know, and it's like, but you can minimize the time
right,
you spend
yeah,
or interact and all of that.
Put those boundaries into place of,
Yes.
I can only do X with you. And if I do X with you, then it can only be for maybe like 15 minutes.
A second.
Yeah, whatever that
second.
time is.
Time is up, sorry.
I had a bounce.
But no, but you really have to, and it is nothing against that other person.
Correct.
It is everything for you.
Right.
Because you are your number, you need to take care of you first. You know, because if this and you are not whole, you know, then you just give more and more away of you, and then it's even harder to come back to that place of wholeness.
Right. And then you can't fulfill your destiny.
Right? I like destiny.
No matter whatever you're called to do, you cannot fulfill that if
Right.
you have, I mean.
Absolutely. I mean, it took me over 50 years to realize all of that, and then it's been, what, a year and a half now? I was like, ooh, I'm doing me on purpose with purpose. And it is amazing. It is amazing. Is it scary at times? Yeah, but you do it anyway. You do it with the fear.
Right.
You know, you do it through the fear. You just do it because if that's your heart, if that's what your calling is, and whatever it is, what is it for you, if you don't mind sharing? Because I like it.
What do you mean?
Your passion, your calling. If you want to share, you don't have to.
Well, you know, my mom used to always say that my name meant leader of the people, and I was meant to lead.
I like that. I like that.
And I always have people tell me that I inspire them in some way or another.
Those chills. I mean, it's like I get the chills every time somebody says something. I say something, and the universe is like, yeah, that right there. You hear that? Here, let me emphasize that for you. And it's like chills.
But you know, I have definitely allowed people to stifle and I don't know, to a certain degree, box me in
Mm-hmm.
and try and hold me to that, or try and take past mistakes and hold them against me. But what happens is when you're placed into this position, box, darkness, whatever you want to call it, sometimes you do things that you probably normally would not do because you're just not yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're in survival mode.
Right.
I gotta survive, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But if you stop and smell the roses and figure out that, you know, this is not a good place for me to be in because
It takes you joy, it takes you happiness, and
Right.
you're just, again, going in that mode of avoiding behavior that could potentially add more pain, physically or emotionally. So you're just maneuvering within that. And I've been there. I think, again, we've all have been there
yeah.
in some shape, form, and some more severe than others, but I think at some point we've all been there. It's like, ooh, well, if I would like to do this, but if I do that, then this happens, so I'd rather, so we settle. We become settlers, So it's like, but I can do this, and then if I do this, I avoid all of this. And it's just a safer place.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I know there's a lot of people in that situation. So I forgot what company it was, that commercial with the settlers. You know what I'm talking about? It was one insurance company, I don't remember. But they're talking, it was like, well, the settlers, and they're like, the one side they have all the new toy, the new car, the new phone, the new everything, and then the farming settlers that have like the dirt floors in their house and no electricity and all of that. And it's like, and for me, when I first saw that, I probably laughed way harder than I should have. But it struck such a chord for me.
Right.
Because I realized it's like I used to be the settler. I used to be that person. It's like, well, I would really like to do that, but.
Right.
And then I settled over here.
Because you can't see something better.
It's not only that I couldn't see it, but I didn't allow myself. I let that fear take over.
Yeah.
Because.
We're conditioned.
We are. We're absolutely conditioned. Absolutely. So for me, because I was in the part of my journey when I had just realized that I was a settler. It's just not in those words, but and the universe gives you what you need when you need it. But watching that commercial, that for me, that was such a smack in the face.
Right.
Such a wake up call. It's like, oh my gosh, this was me. This is me. Ugh.
Right.
But we do that. We do that because that's what we know. That's what we're comfortable with. Even though we're not comfortable, we're miserable.
Right.
But that's what we know.
Right.
That is what we know. And we're so scared to make a change, even if it's just this much.
Right.
But we're conditioned. We're so fear conditioned.
Yeah, because you get uncomfortable, and when you're uncomfortable, you're not sure if you go right, you go left, you just
go. Yeah, I'm uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable all the time. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. But I don't even think about it anymore. I just like, oh, this sounds like fun. Let's do it. And then sometimes it's like, yeah, that was dumb. Shouldn't have done that. Thank you for the lesson. We're not doing that again.
I think I heard somewhere that the word failure is the first attempt in learning.
Oh, I like that. But see, I don't believe we can fail. I really don't think we can actually fail because every problem has a solution. I believe that. And every problem has a bazillion possible solutions.
Right.
And unless we really explored all the possibilities, we haven't failed. We have quit. We quit.
Yeah, quit.
We quit. It was like, well, it's not going to work. Well, how do you know? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried that? And have you tried that? And if you can't figure it all out, ask somebody else. They have other ideas too. So I really don't think you can fail.
No, but sometimes you just got to put in the work, and not everybody wants to do the work. because
You mean I put in effort and work and what now? What's wrong with you? Oh, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
I know, because not everything can come in a nice package box and on a silver platter.
Hardly ever anything comes nicely packaged and on the platter with a bow on it.
And sometimes the bigger the success, the more tribulations you go through.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just, some people are lucky, but they can't handle, if they had to go through what some of the most successful people had to, they could not endure. Because not everybody is built to endure those kind of trials and tribulations. But you have to decide you're worth it.
Right. And the other thing too is like, I think it's like for us, you know, because we have been through trauma, we have been through various situations and circumstances and whatnot. To me, those are, at first there were blocks, there were walls, they were like, you know, they were burying me, but now they're building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think a lot of the really super successful people these days, I mean, if you read and or hear their stories, they have been in some dark places.
Oh yeah.
But they all use that as their building blocks, you know, and I think that's really because they know what it's like to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like, there's no way I'm going back there. I will do everything in my power to not ever have to go through anything remotely like that ever again.
Right.
You know, and I think that tenacity right there is really what makes the difference.
Right.
To move us forward.
True. And each one of those successful people always found ways to encourage themselves.
Yes.
To keep moving forward, not getting stuck. And if they did get stuck, they just find another way to
get unstuck.
Right. And keep motivating, like, we gotta do this, we gotta do this.
And it's not just we got to, but it's like, for me anyway, it's like, I know I can.
Right.
I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what, but I know I can. I'm gonna show it to you, I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Right. And when they stick to that, I am going to make it, I am going to change my circumstances, their outcome was phenomenal.
Right.
And so now they can encourage other people with their stories of, let's get this done.
Right. And it goes back to, like I always said, what you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on, you know, will come to be. It's Think and Grow Rich is a great book. I can highly encourage it. But it's really what you think about and what you focus on, where your energy goes, you get more of that. So if you have this, I can do this attitude, the universe, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, conspires to give you all the resources that you will need to succeed.
Right.
But they don't come in a nice little package, and you still have to put in the work, and you have to still, you know. But the circumstances and the people and everything will be put in your path to help you get to where you want to go, as long as you stay focused. If you're wishy-washy about it, if you go like, oh, I can do this, and then you go, blah. So now you're sending out to this signal, yay, and I will give it to you, but then you go, and then the universe is like, oh, you want this now, okay. And as this is coming to you, now you change your mind again.
And want something else.
So the powers that are cannot give you what you want, because you don't know what you want. You have to have a clear vision, you have to have a clear focus. And I'm not saying you have to know exactly the who's, the what's, the when's, the how's, the details.
Right.
You don't know. That's not how that works. But you have to know the general direction. You have to know your end result. This is where I want to go.
Like a business plan for your life.
Right, exactly. And you don't even have to do the whole plan.
Right.
You just know it's like, this is where I want to go. I mean, when I set out last year, I just announced, it's like, oh, I was done over here on corporate and I literally closed my laptop, done, walked away. I was doing something for mortgages. I was like, why? This is stupid, done, walked away. And I was like, okay, now what do? I didn't know exactly. I just knew that I would do me on purpose with purpose. Meaning the things that I have done my whole life, just because it's just who I am, you know, I decided I'm going to do this on purpose with purpose. I didn't know what that would look like. I didn't know where that would lead me. I didn't even know I was going to write a book. right out the gate. I mean, I didn't know.
Right.
I honestly did not know. I just knew. I finally made the decision, and the universe said, "Oh, thank goodness, finally. Here you go. Have it all. Have it now. Figure it out. And oh, by the way, there is more coming." And I'm just like going in the general direction.
Right.
But for those of you that have watched my growth over the last year, it's been a year and a half or whatever, it's insane. It is insane what has happened and what is happening, and it's just like, this is great, and I'm really enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
And I know the direction I'm going, and I'm more refining it, but I still don't have to know the who's, the what's, the when's, the hows, and all the details. I'm still going in that general, except of is now this general directions, it's more of a this general direction.
Most leaders don't know the details. That's why they delegate, and they find the people to put the details together and implement it.
They do. I have a team now. I'm so excited because I'm a big picture person. I am so not detail oriented, and I put out to the universe is like, I need somebody. You want me, and this is how I do, and this works for me. It's like, do you want me to do this? Then I need help over here, and I need it now.
Right. Good leaders are visionaries, and they have a very special skill set that they are known for. And then they're also good at, there's 10 main characteristics that good leaders have.
Okay.
But, and if you have, there's a whole anatomy of it.
I know.
I just got done writing an essay about good leaders.
Nice.
And
you are a good leader too. Yes, you are the leader of the dog.
You have your top leaders and you have your natural born leaders. And your natural born leaders actually have 7 key characteristics that a leader that is top.
So do you know them off the top of your head?
Besides being
awesome.
Visionary,
oh.
high energy, they're compassionate, they're good listeners.
What? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
there's a few others, but those are some of them. But they're always inspired and motivated to improve the quality of life of somebody else, whether it's in a business, in a community, in politics. And they can always see the future. They don't know the details of how to get it. They just get excited and motivated that the future is going to bring some good changes. And I need to get people on my side to see the vision, and then
they come.
And then
because your vibe attracts your tribe.
Right, and people are inspired by the vision, so they get on board and they get it done. And
it's amazing how that works.
They don't micromanage. They are very creative in the sense of, if I listen to your needs and I fully respect and you feel like you're heard, that's how they get things done.
Yeah. It's amazing how that works.
Yes. So it was very, very interesting. I actually got an A on that paper.
Of course you did, because you're amazing. It's A for amazing.
Let me tell you something. This essay, oh my Lord, I think it had me grow 3 new gray hairs. I tell you, because they have, the expectation is up here of the writing level. And it is very, very specific, and little things just kill your points. But in the end, because we had
in the end, you killed a girlfriend, and Amy is like,
yes. Last night when I got my results, I was like,
party.
Yeah, because in the beginning, it wasn't so good. The first feedback was a C. The second was a B, and I'm like, this
on the same paper.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like,
But that's how you
yeah.
learn. That's why we
Yeah.
want that, that's why we do that, to get the feedback so we can grow and we can learn.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing, leaders, they, once they're aware of their skill set, they look to perfect it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, man, if I don't get an A on this essay, I am gonna be so disappointed. So when I saw that, I couldn't even work. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't focus because I was so happy.
And you should be. I mean, you worked hard for that.
I did. I stayed up a lot of late nights.
Oh, I bet.
Trying to figure it out. And I mean, I had to talk with the teacher and everything because what I'm used to writing, I couldn't do that. And that's how I was getting the lower grade, is because I was trying to use my knowledge of what I know today. And they're like, no, we need you to write on this level. And you need to have this kind of ethics behind it, and this and that. And I'm just like, does not compute. And I remember talking with my teacher, and I'm like, am I stupid? Oh, stupid, I don't understand. And then when she started telling me about when she was going through school and was going through the same thing, she was like, yeah, I used to call my grandmother, and I would used to have the stupid tears. I'm so stupid, I can't understand anything, I should just quit.
But we all do that. We all do that. It's like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid. Get it? I know. I'm okay. You have that issue too?
And then there were some days I'm like, why don't I understand this?
See, my attitude now is like, I look up to the universe, like, just give it to me right now, please, thank you.
So it was just funny to see the process from the beginning to the end, and I'm just like,
the camera's the other way. Over that way.
So I am ending this class with an A.
Hooray! That's awesome. So how long till you graduate?
Oh Lord, a while.
Oh, okay.
I'm just in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
So it's 4 years.
Oh, okay. Well, but you know what? They say Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
And you can't build a house. Well, you can anyway. Brick by brick, we built the house.
I think it.
Can you do it?
It has totally changed how I think too, because the whole mission of the school is to produce leaders that can go out and improve the community. So they focus on critical thinking, problem solving, and bringing people together.
Nice.
And which I absolutely love. And I remember the very first class, which is, like an intro class to the college, and I'm like, this class is so stupid. I don't even know why I gotta take this.
So you mean you cropped an attitude?
I did. I have much attitude. Like, oh, this is such a waste of time and money.
She's our people.
But then, the first week, I was like, oh, well, this isn't anything like I thought it was gonna be. And just how they had my mind thinking of, this
You mean
is
critical thinking? What?
critical thinking, yes, and
You mean like thinking, not just reacting thinking?
no, some serious
I'm
thinking, yes. And
They should teach that, like, starting at elementary school.
yes, and just the problem solving and just like different things, just taking things to a whole notch. And then I let my attitude go, and I started learning. And I'm like, oh, I can apply this in so many different ways.
It's like,
So I get excited. So when I'm up until 2 o'clock in the morning, because I'm working on homework, I'm like, this is cool. My family doesn't agree with it, because I'm like, because I will box myself in. Don't talk to me. Don't breathe in my direction. Just let me do my homework.
there you go. No, and good for you. Good for you for sticking to your guns and for being in your zone. But I mean, it really makes a difference when you're in your element, and when you're in your passion, and when you're in the things that give you joy.
True.
Because then it's not work. I mean, on the downside is, my husband is like, did you eat yet today? I'm like, no. You know, or it's like, when was the last time you walked around?
That's a
Can't-
good question.
I know, it's like, can't right now, I'm in the middle of something. You're always in the middle of something.
I
Yeah.
know, I feel so bad because even when I'm designing and somebody interrupts me and I am like in that flow and can you do,
Excuse me?
hello?
Do you know it takes you about 30 to 45 minutes to get back into your flow after every interruption?
Yeah, and sometimes even, and it could
Even
be a
longer?
couple of hours and it could be a couple of days for me if
Mhm.
you break me in that groove. And then of course, then it takes me twice as long to finish it because I can't think, I can't envision anything.
Well, it's that, and then you have that frustration because you were just interrupted.
So I'd be snapping at folks. I'd be giving people the old stank eye too, like. It's like, oh, better, back away, back away, cause she's in her groove.
Yeah.
If you want her head, if you,
You
want your head.
you know, it's like we should have like this on-air sign outside of our office. If the red light is on, stay the heck away. Don't even think you might want to come in. Don't make a sound. That's a good idea. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to stop and cook
I should
dinner.
put one on my studio here, just because I can.
Oh yeah, that's
No,
true.
I put it on my office.
But I do. I don't want to stop to cook dinner. I don't even want to stop to eat. I just want to finish
Right.
this part and then. So no matter how
'Cause
long
you're
it
in your
takes
flow.
me, right?
You're in the flow. I mean, it's like take the river. You know, the water flows, and you put like that dam in the middle, and it's like all of a sudden it comes to a screeching halt,
Yes.
and it's like, son of a gun. Because and this is what I've noticed. So when I get interrupted, because I'm I know you're interrupting too, but I love you. But I mean, I'm in this thought. I mean, thoughts are just coming in, and I'm like working on it, you know. And then you get interrupted. So you put the dam
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Well, the thoughts and everything, they're still coming. They just have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know, so they come up, and then when you get back to work, now you remove that barrier. Well, not just the thought that you were originally working on comes through, all the others come through too at the same time, and you're sitting there going, crap, now what was I working on? And oh, this is a really good thought, and oh, that's a good squirrel over here too, you know. And it just takes time to sort them out again.
Yeah.
Before you can get back onto the original, you know, and then you start the cycle all over because there's another interruption.
Right. Even if I write myself a note of where I was heading, I'll come back to it and I'll be like,
What, the fire truck?
what was I thinking?
Mhm.
Why did I think this was a good idea? And then
But in that respect, you know, sometimes interruptions aren't that bad then.
it depends.
It depends, you know.
It depends.
But I mean, but still, an interruption is an interruption.
Right. Right.
You know, whether it's a phone buzzing or somebody walking in your office or Mo barking at somebody out the window that dares to walk by on the street. The nerve of some people.
Now sometimes if I am interrupted and I scrap that ideal, usually the new ideal will be better than the previous.
Right.
But then I have to start from scratch, and so that's like double the hours of wherever.
Do you get to bill by the hour?
No, I wish. I mean,
It's like, I'm sorry, I had to
it
charge you.
depends.
I had to charge you triple because I got interrupted and then a better idea came. So that's why that's that much this time.
I know. No, usually I charge by the project.
Oh, by the project. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
But,
I just had to throw that out there. It's like, if you get paid by the hours, no.
but you know, I am leading up to being commissioned. One of my end goals is to be commissioned. I want to be one of those firms that gets paid $1 million to design a logo.
And you will. No doubt in my mind.
The doors are open. The doors have opened.
Exactly.
I just know it's here.
It is here.
It's right at my doorstep.
Oh, you paid attention when we spoke earlier. Because before she said, it's coming, and I said, no, it's not. Because if you say it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, that's in the future. The future never comes. Right now. It's here. Good.
I
I'm so excited
just
for you.
wait for that phone call. is this Kim Mullet? Oh, it sure is.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
Well, I saw the project you did, so this is what we're going to do.
It is happening. It is happening. It is so happening. And then, because because when we put it out in public now, you're gonna write 2 books.
I am. I have a murder mystery and an inspiration book
I
coming.
love that. I so love that. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. It's good.
Beanie says just throw the outline out the wall.
Well,
Not out the wall, but out of the way and just write.
don't worry. That's what I tell people. Is like, so if you guys are thinking of writing a book, just start writing.
Yeah.
Just start writing. I mean, if you have the gist of it, that's really all you need. If it's like you have chapters in your head already, when I did mine, I had the steps, and actually you just fill in the blank pretty much. But don't worry about, don't do the outline and try, definitely don't overthink it, because once you do, you're never going to pull the trigger. And done is better than none.
Well,
just pull the trigger. And here's the thing, perfect is an illusion.
Yeah, because you'll always change it.
And
you'll find better words.
Right, perfect is an illusion. Just do it. Just do it, and then get yourself a good editor. I love mine. She's like, ooh. I mean, it sounded great before, but ooh, so much gooder now. And she uses the word gooder, which is, that was like, you're hired, because you use my words. So, and I think she says she writes gooder than she speaks. I think, or the other way around, I can't remember. But when I first heard this, I'm like, oh, you are my people. You use the word gooder. And I looked around at everybody that was making fun of me before. I said, see, y'all. From the editor.
Just like when I used to say cool beans, and my kids used to say, cool beans? Really, Mom? Cool beans? And then when I hear it on a TV show, I'm like, cool beans,
gooder.
Right?
Because it's gooder. And gooder is a word because it's funner. No, but I mean, seriously, guys, if you want to write a book, and we all have a book inside of us. We all have a story. We all have a book inside of us. Just write it. Whether you publish it or not, don't worry about it. Just write it.
Yeah.
Just get it out. Just get it out, because you never know who you inspire. And it just might be great therapy for you.
Sure.
I know when I was writing mine, some of the stuff I was writing is, it was like, well, I know it happened, because I was there. Right. But writing it down and then reading it back, and then having it read to me, because Office 365 can read it to you, is really cool. It's kind of creepy, but it's really cool. Especially, and here's a fun squirrel. So one of my computers is like Steve Hawkins' voice, and the other one is like a female or something. Not.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, oh, Steve Hawkins is reading my book. This is so cool. Having my book read to me, But it is really weird when you hear it. It's like, so when you write something,
right.
And then you read it in your head is one thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. I dare you, read it out loud and pay attention. It is so different. It is so different. It's like, I was sharing with Kim, I wrote a poem because I had to learn to embrace the dark that happened. And anyway, long story. But I wrote a poem, and I was like, eventually I'll publish it. But right now it's like, and I remember when I wrote it, and I read it through my head, it's like, this is good, I like it. And then as soon as I had finished, because again, no coincidence, as soon as I had finished it, my husband had called me, he was out of town at the time, he goes, what you doing? I said, well, apparently I'm a poet now too, I wrote a poem. And he goes, oh, what'd you write? I said, well, let me, and so I was so proud of myself, I was like, let me read it to you. And as I started reading it out loud, whoa. That's when, I wouldn't say all hell broke loose, but I started crying, and that's when it hit home for me. That's really when it hit home for me. And when you read it, I knew that. I knew that because long time ago, when I was going through like my deep dark, I had my psychiatrist at the time, she told me to write a letter to my mother. And I was like, huh? And mind you, at that point, yes. So German is my first language. I grew up in Germany. So English is my secondary language, but it's my primary because I speak more English than German, even at that time. So my psychiatrist was American. It was through military, because we were military, so I saw a military doctor. And I was like, do I have to write it in German? She goes, you can write it any way you want. Oh, good, English it is. And then I looked at her and I said, do I have to send it to her? She goes, you can, but you don't have to. I just want you to write it all down. Everything that you need to, and this is, guys, let me tell you, that is like the best therapy, free therapy you get right now.
Yeah.
Is whoever has done you wrong or whatever, write a letter to them. But don't worry about sending it, because for me, and this is what I told my psychiatrist, I said, I don't want to send it because then I expect a response, and I know even if I get a response, which I doubt I will, it will not be what I need and what I want.
Right.
You know, and she goes, don't worry about this, is not why we're doing this exercise. And that's not why you're going to do this, okay? So what you do is you write it down. Mm-hmm. And again, you read it in your head, you write it down as one thing, you read it in your head as another thing. So I went to my next session with her, with my letter in hand, and she sat there and she said, now read it to me. Excuse me? The fire truck? She goes, I need you to read it out loud to me.
There's so much power in
oh my gosh,
that, though.
I tell you what, I mean, I was bawling as I was reading. It was really bad when your shrink cries. Okay, I mean, we were sharing tissues. So, but let me tell you something that is so powerful, to let it out. Out loud. And you can do it. I mean, you don't have to share it with somebody. Say it, read it out loud to yourself in the mirror, or just read it out loud to you if you're just you in the room. But it's more powerful if you can have, I mean, I'm looking at, in the corner I have a big old teddy bear sitting. It's like, you know, something or somebody to read it to out loud. I mean, and it can be you in the mirror. It doesn't matter. Okay, but it is so incredibly powerful. And it is such a relief.
Right.
And to release it, because now it's out in the open. It's not inside anymore. Mm-hmm. And that is so huge and is so powerful. And I still do this.
It's like breaking the bondage.
Right. And I still do that because, I mean, there's people I come across, I'm like, I know people. You know, but what I do is I do that exercise. But it doesn't just work when you're filled with anger and frustration. It also works the other way around if when you're in a happy place and everything too. So, but it's such a powerful thing to just release it that way, because they're still your words, they're still your emotions. But when you read it out loud, I don't know what it is, and I'm sure there's some scientific explanation out there. But just to say it out loud and let it outside of you.
Right.
That is the first step in the healing process. It really was. I didn't know it at the time. I just was like, what the heck just happened? And I'm like, wow. It's like, and then my shrink's like, you need more tissue there, you know. But I mean, it is so powerful.
Yeah, because you get to release so much that kept you in bondage.
Right, exactly.
It's like you get to, it's like a newfound freedom.
Oh, it is so liberating. It is so very, very liberating. It's like, so when I did my poem and I read it to my husband, I mean, I was bawling throughout the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know what's happening, you know. And he is like, it's okay, babe. It's okay. And he's like, funny thing is, I kind of knew this would happen. When you said you wrote a poem and you want to read it to me, somehow I knew this would happen. It's like, 30 years you don't know me.
I know, like this year for Mother's Day, I wrote a poem because, you know, my mom, she inspires a lot of what I do.
Good.
And she's actually one of the reasons why I got into doing graphic design. Because when I went to the mortuary and they gave me all these programs, they were all the same. Templates.
Boring.
And I'm like, why would I want to use a template to showcase what my mom meant to everybody? She's not the same. I don't want her treated the same. And why would I say this is okay?
Because we're a society where one size fits most.
Yeah, so then I was like, that's just not going to work for me.
Good for you.
And that's how I ended up designing my own bereavement line. And actually went back to the same mortuary and became their specialist. And designed for high-profile funerals.
Good for you. Congratulations.
And then I just started looking at the whole market of design and how people are conditioned to accept whatever they're given.
Here's a cookie cutter.
Yes.
Yes.
And I decided
One size fits most.
I didn't want to do that. And so, yes, it's been,
Good for you.
but I love it. I will say it is
I
the
couldn't
most.
tell. That's news to me. It's like, I
It
know.
is one of the most rewarding jobs. And even though sometimes in the designing process, you're like, I don't know. I remember when I was doing the stuff for the mortuary, and a lot of time I would just get a piece of paper. Name, date of death, no characteristics, no nothing. And so, and because I can read people really well, I would always pick up something in between the lines. And I would base my design on that. And so the whole time I'm designing, I'm sweating, I'm crying, I'm like, I don't know. I'm taking such a big chance, and no one's authorized this, but I'm going to do it anyway because my gut says this is the direction to
Good
go
for
in.
you.
And then when I present it, they're like, you nailed it. This is exactly so. And when you're designing for bereavement, and when you see that family and the breakdown of, you are showcasing them in a way that we never would have been able to do, because whenever you're putting a service together, there's so much pressure, and you wouldn't believe the fights that take place.
Oh, I know.
In the arrangement room.
Oh, yeah.
And so to give them that peace, it was like all the sweat and tears and worry that I had.
For nothing.
And
Worth it.
and I would swear, I'm never doing this again. I don't know why you were doing this. I'm like, okay, next. And then I start the process all over again. And even sometimes when I'm designing, and people, they'll say, well, I want this, but in the discussion they'll say something that triggers, and I'm like, I'm going to base my design on this. And sometimes I know I'm taking a risk because it could be rejected.
Hey, no guts, no glory.
But I'm like, I just gotta go with my gut feeling.
And always go with your gut, because your gut is your higher self, and it never treats you wrong.
Right.
It's like when, it's like when your gut is churning and it's like everything is in a knot. That's a warning sign. Listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if your gut is like, yeah, this is awesome, just go with it. Listen to your gut. Always. So cool.
So then, so it just, but yeah, so she inspires me. But I wrote this poem, and I remember when Lance read it, he was like, he got a little choked up when he read it. But, everything I do, a lot of my inspiration is because of my mom.
That's awesome. And I think we all have certain people in our life that inspire us, and sometimes it's what not to do. It's like I learned how to not be a bad mom. I mean, I learned from my mother what not to do as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I swore, that's like, if I have kids, that's not going to happen. And you never know. I mean, inspiration is not always just as like, sometimes it's like, oh, this sucks. Well, because of this, I'm not going to do this. Now I'm doing this, and you don't,
Right.
I mean, it's you never know where it's coming from.
No.
You never know where it's coming from. It can, good, bad, ugly. It's like, but we always focus is like, it's like, oh, this is really good. Okay. And then when something bad happens, it's like, essentially it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different vibration. It's just at a different level, but the gist of it is the same. And it's like, yeah, anyway. So we gotta, cut this here.
Holy Simone.
I know! Time flies when
I didn't even think we had 30 minutes.
I know! Time flies when you have, and it's so funny because I tell people, it's like, well, I aim for 30 minutes. My last shows went way over. It's like the last one I did, I think, was an hour.
Oh, wow. And we're right at an hour.
So, yeah. It's all good.
You got a lot of editing.
No, I don't. I don't edit the actual conversation. And here's the thing, I don't edit the actual conversation, so this is staying. All I do is I add my intro and my outro, So in the credits, I put your contact info if people want to contact you. That's all I do. And then I post it. I don't edit the actual conversation. So, because I don't have the time. And B, why? There's no need. There's no need. Yeah, I mean, I actually had one interview that I did, and I contacted the guy afterwards. I'm like, I'm not posting it. Because I told him it's not to pitch your business. This is to inspire people, to lift people up, to give them ideas, da. And it was a pitch fest. And I'm sitting here with him, and he's throwing a price, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I told him, he's like, well, I'm not. I'm like, you just put a price in it. So I called him afterwards. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not happening. So I deleted it. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love what I do because there's so many opportunities. Because I have actually had clients come in to the store, and they felt so comfortable that they would share personal stuff. And I mean, some what you can break
this
down.
This is my design fee. This is my coaching fee. This is for the therapy session.
And they would, and I mean, they would be there for hours, just talking and sharing, and then they were like, "Well, thank you. I would have never ever expected this coming in here." And so you just never know.
You don't.
How your story can affect somebody else. Especially if somebody is feeling stuck and you don't even know. Right. Just because somebody is smiling and functioning doesn't necessarily mean anything. You don't know the heartbreak or
you don't know
the depression or the desperation that they're going through. So that's why I love sitting down and talking and working with people one-on-one, because you get to know so much about
Oh my gosh. It's not just that, but it's like everybody has a story. And I love Lisa Nichols. She's actually one of my mentors. And I adore her. I think she's amazing. If you have not listened to any of her or ever heard her speak, just go on YouTube and type in Lisa Nichols. She's just amazing. But one of the things she said in one of her courses that I took is, your story isn't yours to keep.
Sure.
And it's like, ow! I mean, it just went to the core for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, your story isn't yours to keep, because there's somebody out there who thinks he or she is alone. They're the only ones going through this. No. There's somebody going through whatever you're going through. And if you can be that one person to make the difference for that one person.
Give them hope to make it through another day.
You have to share that. You just cannot keep that story to yourself. No. And whether you do it in a blog, you write a book, or you start a show, it doesn't matter, but your story isn't yours to keep, or just in conversation, because you never know.
Right.
So, but anyway, we can talk about this all day. We gotta
gotta go. Yeah.
My producer Mo. Okay, I was gonna say he's telling me to cut it, but he's snoozing right there.
I know, he's like, I gotta take a nap. I'm trying to cut
I know.
it
It's like this is exhausting. This limelight is exhausting. But anyway, Kim, thank you so much for being here. I love you being here. Maybe next time we do a show in your beautiful island.
Come out. It'll really change your perspective about a lot of things.
I'm sure.
Because sometimes in life we get caught up in what society has conditioned us, rush. So when you get a chance to stop and smell the roses and
tip your toes in the water, in the ocean.
Right, without somebody being and saying, no. Right. Yeah. You got to have this done in 30 seconds.
No.
You get to change your perspective.
Nice. I love that.
You get to find out what's really important in life.
It's awesome. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we should. Definitely. I like it.
And when you're around that water and the peace and the serenity that just overcomes you, you're just like, why would I want anything besides peace and serenity in my life?
Yeah, and happiness. Why?
Right.
Anyway, we gotta cut this.
Alrighty.
All right, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. I love you guys as always. Be happy. Be kind. I had to think it's like, anyway. Be happy, be kind, be loved. I love you guys, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.